Hello, bless your hearts if you've watched all three of these reviews in a row. Good for you. You're a hardcore OrangeDoseOverJuice fan. Anyway, this is a review of Battlebots Episode 8, the Desperado tournament. So, for those who don't know, this is like a mini tournament in the middle of the season for the bots that maybe aren't doing so well, so they volunteer and sign up, and it's like a little knockout tournament, so they've got to win 3 fights in a row, and they get a guaranteed spot in the top 16, so the final sort of tournament at the end, as it were. So, as with last episode, I was here for all of the fights apart from the little bonus Deep 6 fight in the middle. And the first fight itself, Minotaur against Lucky, was the first fight that I saw. So, again, this is something I really wanted to talk about in my vlog, and I couldn't do it all. So I went in and I was thinking, you know, God, the whole trip is great if I see either Minotaur or Tombstone. That's like, these are the ones that I really want to see fight. And yeah, the first fight of the first session of 6, they just wheel in Minotaur, and I was like, cool, okay, wow, I don't really know what to do with that. And then yeah, they put up against Lucky, and I thought, this is just gonna be insane. And then yeah, Daniel Freitas, the driver of Minotaur, he was like pacing, looking for like discrepancies in the floor, and just kind of psyching himself up for the fight. And yeah, like I said, that was the very first fight, so I was kind of like, there was a moment there where it hit me. I was staring, and I was like, I'm at BattleBots right now. I've flown across from England to LA to watch BattleBots, and I'm sitting in the BattleBots audience about to watch Minotaur do a fight. And I was like, that's ridiculous. That's the most stupid thing I've ever heard. I love it. Anyway, on with the actual fight review. Sorry, actually, no, one more thing. It was only after sort of a few of these fights have been on that I sort of got that it was a Desperado tournament, because I was really confused. I was like, well, why is Minotaur in there? And I didn't realise that they'd been doing very badly. And after this fight as well, because obviously they were very much back on form with this fight, I was like, well, yeah, they're kicking ass, like they always do. So it was like seeing them at the start of the series on TV, I was like, oh, okay, it will finally make sense now. Okay, now I promise I will actually talk about the fight. So the fight was insane. Minotaur obviously back on form, like classic Minotaur, sparks, just pure domination. Lucky losing a wheel very quickly early on. That last hit where they were self-right, and then the sort of the top of Lucky and the flipper kind of went around the drum, and it was just sparks and just stuff everywhere. That was a very cool hit, and the crowd went, oh, probably like one of those noises for that one. So that was superb to watch live. The slow-mo really showed, though, that armor on the side of Lucky just kind of wibbling around rather than trying to resist it. It's sort of going with the movement of the drum. So it shows how effective that is. And I love in the post-fight interview, because they were so happy the robot was finally working, they're trying to actually interview the captain of Minotaur, and then Daniel Freitas is just like pacing around in front of the camera, just being like, blah, 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 blah. That really made me giggle. Next up was Black Dragon against Captain Shredderator. So Black Dragon, again, it's interesting because the Desperado last time was purely just robots that weren't doing very well and were like desperate, as the title implies. This time, Black Dragon seemed to be doing okay. They had like a kind of very near loss against Texas Twister, and then like a very much win against Bloodsport. But they seemed to go in almost like, we want to absolutely guarantee, or maybe they just went in with this confidence of like, we think we can win this tournament, let's just go in. So it's interesting, there's more tactics in this season than there was last time with this tournament. This fight, they very much proved that they can stand up to an insane amount of punishment. The hit from Captain Shredderator sent both robots not only just like over to the side and then tapping into the sides, both robots like smashed into the sides. I couldn't, like, again, this was one of those hits when watching live, very much stuck with me. Very much one of the big ones that stuck in my mind from all those fights. But yeah, fair play to them. They took that hit, carried on, like the weapon still worked, the drive still worked, didn't seem to faze them at all. And they had that absolutely perfect gyro in the middle. Oh, gorgeous. Next fight was Gruff against Endgame. So again, Endgame being there, you can see why I didn't quite twig straight away that this was the Desperado tournament, because Endgame were very good last season. This was a really rough kind of back and forward. There's a bit in the middle that made me laugh where Gruff got Endgame up on their wedge, and they kind of went to clamp down with their forks. And then you can see they sort of fought twice, like, actually, no, let's not just wedge our forks into that weapon, and then they just pushed them instead. It's a shame their fire got knocked out quite early on, because there was a point they had Endgame pinned, and I thought if they'd used their flame then, or if the flame had been working then, rather, that would have been like devastating for Endgame. Next fight was Ragnarok against Warhawk. So Ragnarok lost again, obviously, but we got like an okay fight here. At least it wasn't over within the first few seconds, and they showed that they could push stuff around. Again, they had interference with the radio for the actual axe, apparently. But there was that one hit where we did see what it was actually capable of, so that's cool. So, although, again, disappointed they lost, I'm glad they actually got a kind of semi-decent fight out of this. But I felt really bad for that last hit as well, because they were like pushing Warhawk into the screws, and it was only when Warhawk pushed up against was actually when Ragnarok went into their disc and then flipped. So I felt bad because that was kind of like them in control and then suddenly not in control. Next up was Minotaur against Endgame. So again, by this point, this was when they started actually repeating robots, and I was like, hang on a sec, we just saw these guys fight. And I was like, oh, hang on a sec, is this the Desperado? And then they sort of, I listened out a bit more, and then they started saying, and I was like, wow, okay. So this was, yeah, like I say, Minotaur against Endgame. And this was, again, this was my favourite robot. And this point I was like, this is only the first session, and now I'm seeing Minotaur again. Like, how insanely lucky am I? And again, I got to see them on their absolute top form. They were ripping Endgame apart, absolute, like, fearless domination, just shredding them. There was a few points when they, like, met weapon on weapon and stuff, and it reminded me of those clips you see on YouTube of, like, two people running towards each other with the big gimbals, and then all of the energy goes into one person stays, the other person goes absolutely flying, and that's what Minotaur seemed to be doing to Endgame. Like, whenever they met, Endgame went flying off, Minotaur just stayed put. Next up was Warhawk versus Black Dragon. Very little to say about this fight, if we're honest, because Warhawk just stopped working straight away. What else can I say about it, really? Oh, at the very start, before the actual fight, you can see me chanting, fight, fight, fight at the start. There you go, that's all I've got notable to say about this. We then had a little kind of interlude fight, which was Deep Six against Act Backwards. So Deep Six is is just insanity. It's just ridiculous. It looked so hard to control. Like, it was basically just kind of like trying to keep pointing at the other robot. It didn't seem to be going forward or backwards very much. But fair play to them, it worked. That insane spinner absolutely ruined Axe Backwards in one hit. I say in one hit, the first hit, obviously, Axe Backwards actually survived quite well from that. But yeah, the second hit, when it hit in the middle, just ended. So yeah, good for them for getting their robot working. I don't think it's going to win, but I think it's going to put on some very entertaining fights. And then we had the actual Desperado final, which was Minotaur against Black Dragon, as you probably worked out. This battle was absolutely phenomenal. You can see just how evenly matched these guys are. At the start, there's this point when their movements are exactly mirrored. They weren't afraid to go weapon on weapon. Those bits, like, being an audience member, you were just wincing at them. There's a moment when Black Dragon forced Minotaur into the actual wall of the arena, and their weapon was just grinding at those, like, spiky steel girder looking bits. And the noise, I can't even get across how loud that was in person. That was like maybe 10 feet in front of us. That was insane. Black Dragon's driving is just next level impressive. They didn't put a foot wrong at all, basically. And the fact that Minotaur lost, I didn't really bother me at all, because I'd already seen them win 2 fights. It was quite a close one anyway. Plus, I just want to get across as well, I'm not one of these people who, if my favourite robot doesn't win, I'll be all like, bottom lip quivering. It just, it doesn't bother me. And also, because they didn't actually win the Desperado, I got to see them fight again a little bit later. Overall, that fight was just fantastic, though. Really back and forth. Yeah, this was like how I was at the time. I was like, just struggling for words, to be honest. So that was the Desperado. There's no Battlebots this week as I record this, and if anything, I'm quite pleased because I can catch up with these reviews finally. Yay for sharks. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Again, I hope like me adding my own personal little thing of seeing it live is adding to these reviews and you're enjoying that kind of element of it. Thanks a lot for watching, and cheerio.